Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Today I'm going to be going through how to bind your primary flight controls in the PMDG 737-800 for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We will obviously be using Hangar Control as our reference, though these steps should work in any software that you choose to use for your control bindings. A lot of people seem to think that's far more complicated than it is to bind the controls in this aircraft, so hopefully after today's video, those questions will be smoothed out. One app designed to do it all. Hangar Control brings everything together. Control bindings, hardware configuration, mod and profile management, application launching, add-ons, config files, and more, all managed from a single application. Mods Hangar goes beyond just mods and add-ons. It manages profiles, config files, text files, backups, snapshots, and helps keep your community folders clean and organized. Application Hangar launches your entire sim stack with a single click. Your Stream Decks are fully controlled through the Hangar Control plugin, while all of your other Stream Deck plugins remain active and available. Built by a simmer for simmers, Hangar Control adds new features and hardware support every week based on community feedback. It's a one-time purchase with lifetime updates, no subscriptions. You can try it for free for 5 days with no restrictions at overkillsimulations.com. Just create an account, head to your account page, download the latest version, and get started. And if you're looking for in-depth Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft tutorials, check out my Patreon site. Links to Hangar Control and Patreon are down in the description below. Alright folks, so as always, a quick recap. If you happen to have skipped the intro, if you're interested in trying out Hangar Control 5 days free, unrestricted, including any updates that come out during that time frame, simply go to overkillsimulations.com, create an account first, hit the login button, hit the red account button in the top right, hit the red download Hangar Control button on the account page, and start your experience. Alright, let's go ahead and get straight into what we are here to talk about today. So obviously I'm going to start my service first. We have our 737-800 loaded up. We're going to find our AB6 is what we're going to be using for today's example for most of the controls as far as our yoke and our rudder pedals. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First, let's talk about the yoke. Now, actually, the first thing that I need to do before we get going here is I need to make sure that Microsoft is leaving me alone with the control bindings. I don't create empty profiles. I just use the deactivate option. I really wish that Microsoft and Asobo would make this setting persistent, but they do not. So I just like to go in here and make sure there aren't any conflicts. I don't know which is faster, honestly, doing it like this every single time or creating new profiles, because even when you create a new profile, I've noticed that it tends to still activate the controls. Alright, so we're back in the cockpit. Let's get started here. So first, let's see here. Let's find, there's our X value and our Y value. Let's go ahead and bind. This is going to be our ailerons. Left and right is always X. We're going to go sim connect, pick. And again, these commands should work no matter what service you're using. SPAD, X's and O's, MobiFlight, doesn't matter. They should all be just about the same. And we're going to look for ailerons. And we're looking for axis ailerons set. The reason why we want the axis in front, because there are some that you will not. For example, when we get to the throttles, we will not want the axis there. The reason why you want the axis is anytime you are dealing with a control that rests at a center point. Your rudder pedals, they rest at the center point, and then you push them to the right, you push them to the left. Same thing with our yoke. It rests in the center, and so you push it forward, aft, left, right. Okay, same principle. So any control that you ever bind with a Microsoft Flight Simulator where the axis centers at a resting point, you want to use the axis command in front of it. Then we're going to use axis range. This is telling it to use the range of the axis on the flight control. Hit save. Now, you can see that we are activating. However, for me, it is inverted. So I am going to come in here, go to Axis Tune. Simply hit invert. Save. And there we go. I now have control of my yoke. So now let's do the same thing for the elevators. And it's going to be the exact same process. Oops. Hit escape. Sim connect first, pick. And now we're just going to look for elevator. And we're looking for the same thing. Axis elevator set. We already went through Y. Use axis range. Hit OK. Hit save. And again, I need to invert that. So go back into my binding, axis tune, invert, off we go. And there we go. All right, so that's that done. Now let's peek our head down a little bit. Put the yoke down there, and we can see the rudder pedals down there. So let's go find our twist grip here. There it is, right there, that guy. So we're just going to come here, add, keyboard, sim connect, pick, and we're going to look for rudder. And the same exact principle, axis rudder set. Remember, it rests on a center point. And we're just going to save ourselves some time, invert it ahead of time, and now when I push to turn to the right, there's that right rudder, there's that left rudder. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and move over to the left a little bit. We're going to bring Hangar Control up. That should work for what we're doing here. Now we want our spoilers, our flaps, and our throttles. We're going to work on the reverse thrust last. So for this, I am going to move on over to the Bravo for these. Okay, we're going to go to our axis tune. Now I think I do have some bindings in here. Oh, maybe not. Did I clear them? I'm just going to make sure these are clear. I was doing some testing yesterday, so I'm just making sure. Good. Looks like we're fine. Okay, so first let's just start with the throttle handles. Okay, so the throttles, again, this is going to be super simple. Sim connect, pick, throttle underscore set. Now we do not want the axis. Okay, here's our example. The throttles are not resting at a centered point. They rest in idle if you want to get technical. Okay, but we want them to stay wherever we put them. So we don't want that axis. We want just throttle set, use axis. And I'm going to go straight into number 2, add, sim connect, pick. And actually, I just realized what I did wrong here, but I'm going to show you how we're going to fix that easily. Throttle set will do all throttles. For example, if I move the first throttle that we just did, they both move. We don't want that. So what I'm going to do here is this should be the second one. I'm actually going to click in here. Real simple fix. I'm going to add a 2. And I'm going to come back to our first one. And I'm going to add a 1. Throttle 1, throttle 2. Throttle 1. Oh, did I not hit the use axis range? That's what that looks like. I did not. Easy fix. Perfect. Okay. All right, folks. So sorry about that little delay there. We had an internet outage, and unfortunately, obviously, that means I lost Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I had to wait for it to get resolved. So now let's go ahead and get this fixed up. So in order to bind the PMDG spoilers and the flaps, in normal cases, it requires the use of the SDK. It's a bit trickier if you're doing with it anything outside the simulator. You can bind within Microsoft Flight Simulator and the commands work, but if you go actually into like SPAD, Hangar Control, MobiFly, any of those, it requires a different type of scripting. But I've done what I can to make this as easy and simple as possible. So let's go ahead and walk through those steps, okay? So here we go. We are going to first define our segments for the spoilers. So for the spoilers, we're going to add a segment. Everything's going to be in segments now, and just bear with me. So first we're going to come in here, we're going to hit check between, and we're going to do 0 and 10%. Then we're going to go to sim connect, we're going to go to pick, and we are simply looking for the PMDG, there we go. And I believe we put it under speedbrake. Yes, I did. And so the first one is going to be speedbrake lever down. Okay, and that's all we're going to do with that. Okay, so we have our between method, we have 0 and 10%, we've selected sim connect, and we've selected our speed brake stand, and that is all that we need to do. So next step is we have to add the rest of the segments though. This is where this can get tricky, so stay with me. Now we're going to add another one, go between, And this one is going to be between 10 and 25. Sim connect, pick. And this one is going to be speed brake lever arm. Let's expand that. This one right here. Add another one. Between. This one's going to be between 25 and 50. And this one's going to be an easy one to think about, 50 and 50%. So we're going to look for 50%. Hit OK. And we're now going to add again. And we're going to go between. And this one's going to be between 50 and 75. And this one's going to be the flight detent. And the last one for the spoilers or speed brakes is going to be speed brake lever up. And so that's obviously going to be between 75 and 100. Sim connect, pick, lever up. And we're going to hit save. And then when we move our axis, now we have this going the wrong way. So with the segments, one thing that I added in the patch that is hopefully either released or will be releasing shortly after you have watched this video is with these segments, I didn't ever have a way to invert the order. You would have had to rebind these and change all the percentages. Okay, so I mean, you wouldn't have had to rebind them, but you would have had to change the percentage. So in our case, we would have had to take 75, 100 and change it to 0 to 10 in the command, blah, 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 blah. Rather than create that kind of work for somebody after you guys have done that, well, naturally it bothered me, so I went in and fixed it. Now you can go to Axis Tune, hit the invert, and you can see it already checked. And so now it matches the flow. And so now you've even got the speed brake arm. You can even pop it out, back in, out, and the rest of it just follows the axis. Now you guys are seeing a little bit of lagging, and part of that is because of Hangar Control being set to always on top and sitting on top of Microsoft Flight Simulator. It happens every time I do this, so don't think that that's a delay in the controls. It's not. It's a graphical lag that you're seeing, and it's because of Hangar Control being on top of the sim. I don't know why that pisses it off, but it does. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to move on over to the flaps. Now, I will say that these particular commands, how they are saved here, that is Hangar Control specific. It is not that they only exist in Hangar Control. They do not. They exist. They are a part of the SimConnect or the PMDG SDK. But if you go through the SDK, the commands themselves are different. So just keep that in mind. I created these to make it as easy as possible as I could for you guys if you were with inside of the Hangar Control. So all right, now let's go to save. Let's come over here to our flaps, and we're going to basically go through the same process with the flaps. The flaps, we're going to have quite a bit more of them to do. This one kind of sucks, okay? But you can see the flap set, I was going to show you guys, does not work, okay? So I'm moving the axis. It's not working. So we have to clear that. And now let's start our work once again. So this one is going to be a bit longer. Oops. I'm going to go between. Come on. This one's 0 and, oops, come on, there we go, 5%, I didn't mean to hit 0.5, and we're going to go Sim Connect once again, go to pick, back to the PMDG, and this one, we should be able to just look for flaps, there we go, and so you're just going to find everything here, right? So segment 1 is going to be flaps lever 0, and we're just literally going to work our way down in roughly 5% increments. So I'm going to show you guys how we do this. We're going to go through this a bit faster as you guys just saw it, although I will try to expand this window to make things a bit easier to see. So there we go, Sim Connect, both 0 to 5, boom, that's all we need. Next one, add between, and this one should be 5, this is 5 to 15, is the easiest way to break this up in the most equal amount. Sim Connect again. I'm going to sort of stop talking through it. Now you guys can just sort of watch it. Flaps 1, add between. So much, I think it's part of like a thing. I think that's how I'm keeping myself tell myself I'm going to be quiet, and then I keep doing it. But I think it's me, like helps keep me on the right track, right? All right, and this should be flaps 2 is 5 to 15. Yeah, we got 1, 2, 15, 25, right? 15, 5 to 15. Yes. Okay. I'm making sure that I made myself a cheat sheet just to make sure I was going to stay on track here with the percentages. And then, so that's flaps 2. Next flaps 5, 25 to 35. So from here, it's pretty straightforward. We do make some minor changes at the end. It's going to be flaps 5, add. This one's 35 to 50. It's going to be 10. And I tried to keep them all in a sequence. That way you just sort of work your way down when you're in the picker. This one's 50 to 65. Flaps 15. Let's go ahead and make this a bit longer so you guys can see everything as we go. So add again. 65 to 80. And you guys obviously can change these as much as you want. These are not strict. If I didn't make that clear, you can make those percentages whatever the hell you want. If you think that you find a better way to do it that's more comfortable for you, or that makes more sense for the old brain, right? This one's going to be 80 to 92. Oops. There we go. And that's going to be flaps 30. And then the last one here, finally, is 92 to 100. And that should be our flaps 40. Okay, so we're going to hit save there. Hit OK. And now, once again, now, you see what happened again, right? That's not the axis being bad. It's inverted. So we're just going to come right through here. And just like we did before, axis tune, invert it, click. It's already picked up on it. There's 1, 2. We're in that 15% range. Oh. Did I skip flaps 5? I'm starting to think I skipped flaps 5. Let's go look. Okay, so we do have an issue. I'm not hitting flaps 5. So let's expand this again. There it is right there. So what did we do? Oh, look at what we did. I did 25 to 25. So that's a really small margin to try to hit. So let's drop that in there just like that. Save. And now we should be able to hit flaps 5. There's 0, 1, 2. There's 5. 10. Perfect. Slam that bad boy forward and we're good to go. All right. And I'll give you guys a little tip when I'm flying the PMDG. I'm either using the Flight Sim Factory's detent set for the 737, which is absolutely fantastic, by the way. If you guys are looking for add-ons for the Bravo Throttle Quadrant, I would highly recommend taking a look at Flight Sim Factory. This is not a paid promotion. I haven't done any videos for his stuff in quite a long time now. I'm just sitting here telling you that I still use them to this day. They're really, really nice, and they're one-to-one damn near. And he walks you through his own step on how to bind them. But anyway, digressing. What I also do is when I'm not using that, I just listen. I count the clicks. You know, get in the habit of doing that. Once you learn to memorize the number string, it's easy. Okay, so now let's see where we're at here. So we've covered everything. We've got your spoilers now. We've got your throttle. We've got your flaps. Now we need to get the reverse thrust. Let's go ahead and work on that now. All right, folks. So for the last piece on the reverse thrust that I want you guys to be aware of is that in order for the reverse thrust to work, you must be running. The engines need to be started. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to drive yourself crazy because you're going to bind your reverse thrust, and what's going to happen is this the reverse thrust axis are going to lift up just a hair, and that's all you're going to get. Okay, what you're never going to get is that action. Okay, So it's really important. I'm going to say that one more time or you're going to pull your hair out. If you're expecting to see the full range of motion on the reverse lever, you must have the engines running. Okay. So now let's just go through. This is actually a very simple process, guys. And I'm actually just going to show you guys the screenshot of the binding here. We've already got it bound. So you pick your detent. Mine throttles right now are right here. So I'm going to put it right here. And here it is. Under the single press, you want a sequence. The sequences should look like this. SimConnect command, throttle 1, decrease, 25. That's the value that we want, which will trigger the handle up. We want 100 millisecond delay. Really don't need any delay, but just leave it at the default 100. Then create a new line, throttle 1, decrease, 1,000 milliseconds, or essentially is what it's going to do. This is how long it's going to hold it, or the value it's going to put onto it, which will kick it up to full reverse. And you want 2,000 millisecond delay, or a 2-second delay. That the delay is how long it's going to take for this action to take place. All right. So now that we have that, you want to add another press type. Go to release, SimConnect, throttle 1 cut. And I add about a 500 event data value. And that will just make sure that the lever comes out of reverse and stays out. Sometimes if it's too fast, it will debounce and you'll see it go out and then back in. So I increase the value there just to make sure it goes down and stays down. So now I'm going to show you guys with throttle number 2. Okay. So we're going to do this pretty quick. We want our single press. We want a sequence. We're going to add, SimConnect, edit. And remember what I said, it's throttle 1. Oh, this is going to be throttle 2, excuse me. Underscore decrease. There it is right there. Set the value of this first one. We just want something like 25, 50, something like that. Doesn't matter. Then we're going to add a step. SimConnect, edit. And this one we're going to kick up to, where did I say, 1,000 for full reverse. Okay, that'll take care of that. Oops, missed a step. Now we're going to add our second press type, release. And on release, nothing fancy. We can actually just do it all from right here. We're just going to do throttle, oops, 2, cut. And actually, I think we need to match that. We'll leave it like that. And we're going to do 500. And hopefully that should work. I don't believe we do case filtering. I think I disabled that a long time ago. But here we go. Both throttles. All right. So I did miss something on number 2. Let's go back to number 2. By the way, we're totally rolling. So who knows what we're going to hit here. So single press, throttle 2, decrease. Ah, there's right there what I missed. I missed the delay. So we'll come down here. And that's why we want that delay. Add the 2,000. Let's see where we're winding up. Are we moving? Yeah, I have no idea what we might have hit there, but whatever. Here we go. So once again, there's both throttles in reverse. And they both come out of reverse. So there you folks have it. There's everything. We got our spoilers, the throttles, the reverse thrust, as well as the flaps. So I hope you guys found this useful on how to bind everything for the PMDG 737-800 from Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. But don't forget, we also got the yoke and the rudder pedals as well. As always, if you guys have any questions, be sure to jump into the Discord. A link to my Discord is in all of my videos down in the description. You can also find it at the website at overkillsimulations.com. As always, folks, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.